Good afternoon. This video lecture is for my class in legal aspects in tourism and hospitality. Miss Johnny, I think you are alone again for this class. Now, today is September 27, it's a Monday, and we will be meeting every Monday at 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock. Although most of the time, I will just be delivering my video lecture, so it will not take that long, no, to finish the class. But I will be giving plenty of assignments for you to read, so that to supplement the video lecture, you will also be doing some research work on legal aspects in tourism and hospitality. Now, the last time, we talked about the law. No law. What is a law? No? But this was your assignment before. What is a law is, of course, it's a piece of legislation. No? It's a piece of legislation. Now, if it's a piece of legislation, it is a product by a government instrumentality. No? It has been promulgated by a government instrumentality. In our jurisdiction, the lawmaking body, what is it called, Miss Jolie? Our lawmaking body is called the Congress. No? There, you have this, you have taken this in your constitution before. And when we talk of Congress, we talk of the upper chamber. And what's the other chamber? It's the lower chamber. No? Upper chamber and then the lower chamber. All our laws will have to pass through these two chambers. Now, the upper chamber is what we call the Senate. The Senate of the Philippines. And for the lower chamber, we call that the House of Representatives. Now, all laws will have to pass through the deliberations of these two chambers. No? Clear, Ms. Johnny? Now, the product of their deliberation, of course, it starts with a bill first, no? Bill. Then they deliberate, discussion, etc. until it becomes now a law. And that law is denominated as what we call the RA. What do we mean by RA? It's Republic Act. Republic Act. No? So there is a number, says, for instance, RA 9593, which is the Tourism Act of 2009. This is now a law. No? Yung RA 9593. Okay? So we proceed with the law. What is a law? Well, it's a piece of legislation. But to be more specific, these are set of rules. No? Set of rules. What is the purpose of these rules? Well, they intend to regulate. Regulate meaning, when we say regulate, yung inaano niya, no? Regulate would be kinokontrol, no? Kinokontrol niya. What do they regulate? Well, the activities of the members in our society. Members of society, meaning people. No, they regulate the activities of people, and because the activities, they regulate the activities of people. Of course, even the conduct or behavior is also regulated. Now, activities of people, not only people. I'd like to change people. Persons na lang. Activities of persons. Now, when we talk of persons, we have two, no? The natural persons, mga tao, and the juridical persons, mga companies, corporations, so they are also included in the coverage of the law. Not persons. When we talk of persons, we are talking about natural persons and also juridical persons. Natural persons would be the individuals. Juridical persons would be the corporations, partnerships, associations, and others. Okay? So when we talk of persons, it could either be natural or juridical persons. Here? Now, so these are set of rules that regulate the activities of people, and once you violate these rules, there will be an imposition of penalties or what we call sanctions. No? What we call sanctions. So in short, if this is a law, of course, the intention of the law is to regulate the activities of people or persons rather, natural or juridical persons, and who implements the law? Well, of course, the government will implement the law. No, the government. When we talk of the government now, when we talk of the government, we talk about the three equal branches of government. The three equal branches of government. So what are these branches again, Miss Johnny? What are the three main branches of our government? So there are the three. Diba? Still remember that? So who makes the laws? The lawmaking body would be the Congress. Still get that? When we talk of Congress, sabi ko nga, upper chamber and the lower chamber. There are two chambers. First, the upper chamber would be the Senate, and the lower chamber would be the House of Representatives. Clear so far? So the Congress, yung Congress in general, when we talk of Congress, we talk in general, we talk of the both chambers, no? Senate and House of Representatives. So Congress makes the laws. They are the ones who enacts. We call that enacts. Enacts the laws. No, they are the ones who make the laws, no? Congress. And now, after they have enacted the law, so it goes to the what? We have Congress. We have what we call Congress or the legislative body. Legislative body. They are the ones who make the laws, the legislative body. After this, we have the executive branch of the government. Now, the executive branch will be the ones who will what? Implement the laws. So these are the three equal branches of our government. Now, the executive, of course, who is the chief executive in our country? It's the President of the Republic of the Philippines. No? Diyan siya, may cabinet. Now, after this, if there is an issue or controversy about a certain law, then it goes to the judicial branch of government, which will now be the courts. So remember these three co-equal branches of our government. We have the legislative body, we have the executive, and then the judicial branch of government. So they have different functions. The legislative body or Congress will make the laws. The executive will now implement the laws. And then the judicial branch of our government will interpret the laws. They are the ones, the judges will interpret the laws, whether it is constitutional or unconstitutional. Okay, clear so far? Now, we have defined already what a law is. Now, we go to the characteristics of laws. What are the characteristics? Characteristics of laws. Well, the first characteristic is that it is a rule of human conduct. Human conduct. Because they regulate the activities, they regulate behavior of persons, meaning natural or juridical. It is really a rule of human conduct. Second is, it is just, and laws are just and obligatory, meaning it has to be fair. Fair and non-discriminatory. It will apply to all people, persons. It should be fair and non-discriminatory. Then third, enacted by competent authority. Enacted or made by competent authority. And who is the competent authority here? When we talk of competent authority, we are now talking of Congress. Diba? Congress meaning the Senate of the Philippines and the House of Representatives. So that is characteristics. And characteristic number 4, the fourth characteristic is it is followed or observed by all. By all meaning in a certain country or community where it operates. Country, society, or community it operates. Now, we talk about this. When we talk about the operation of the law, now it only operates to the country, society, or community where that law was made. So we have the principle of what we call the principle of territoriality. We discussed this before. The principle of territoriality. It applies only to the country or the society or community where it was legislated. Okay, clear so far? Now we go to the sources of laws. Sources. Saan nanggagaling yung mga batas? Sources of laws. Now, where do they come from? The laws that we have now, where do we get them? The first is the Constitution. And what Constitution are we using? It's the 1987 Consti. I think you have a copy of the 1987 Consti. You better read that because that is a part of our lesson. The Constitution. Now, the Constitution is the supreme and fundamental law. When we talk of being supreme and fundamental law, it is the highest of all the laws that we have in our country. It is supreme, It is the highest, the highest law in our country. So, all other laws, yung mga ibang RAs, all other laws are inferior to the Constitution because the Constitution is supreme. We consider that as the highest law in our country. So what else are the other laws or other sources of laws? Well, we have the statutes. No, statutes, ito yung mga ginawa nga ng Congress or laws. Statutes or laws legislated by Congress. Clear? Yung mga RA, no? Mga RAs, those are statutes. Clear? So far? So RAs are statutes. Statutes or laws. Pagka hindi mo maintindihan yung statutes, laws, yan. No? Johnny, thought you are learning something from me. Okay, statutes are laws. Then the third would be the administrative orders. No? Administrative orders, rules, and regulations, circulars, even executive orders. No? Even executive orders issued by the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Now, usually rules or regulations are promulgated or are made by government agencies. No? Usually they are made by or drafted by or crafted by government agencies. Rather, it's government agencies. Say for instance, if we take the law on the yung National Tourism Law, which is 95-93, who makes the rules and regulations of RA 95-93? I told you it's a government agency, so it will be prepared by the DOT or the Department of Tourism. Huh? So what are the other sources of laws that you know? Aside from statutes, administrative orders, well, we have jurisprudence. What do we consider as jurisprudence? Well, these are the decided cases. Decided cases, who makes the decisions? Well, the courts, no? Jurisprudence are decisions, no? Made by the courts. Decisions made by the courts. Okay? Clear? Then, we're not through yet. Fifth would be, of course, because we are a part of the world of nations that we call, no? United Nations, we have been a signatory to different different laws. So we also another source would be international laws. International laws, because we as a country do not operate alone, no? We are in close contact with our neighbors, with other countries of which we are having an alliance with, no? So those laws, the international laws, like what are examples of international laws? Like treaties, no? Treaties, those laws that we have entered into with another country are treaties like extradition treaty. Yung pababalikin ka, no? Pagka may nagawa ka. Or even international laws like the UNCLOS, no? The UNCLOS, or United Nations Convention for the Law of the Sea, no? UNCLOS. These are also part and parcel of our sources of laws, no? The treaties, even tax treaties that we conclude with other countries, they will be observed also in our own country. No? And of course, others would be opinions or decisions of experts, of legal experts. They will fall under what we call others, no? Meron siyang others. We have other sources like opinions, decisions of legal experts, not only in our country but even in other countries like abroad. No? Yung mga legal luminaries, there are also sources of laws. Okay? Clear so far, Ms. Kelvin? Now, we proceed now to, of course, our topic has something to do with tourism versus, are they one and the same when we talk of tourism as opposed to what we call hospitality laws? Are they the same, Ms. Johnny? When we talk of hospitality laws, we talk of tourism laws, are they the same? Well, one book will say that tourism laws versus, kaya nga versus, no? Magkaiba. No? But they often inter or overlap. No? Nag-overlap sila. They often overlap because we cannot do away with hospitality laws unless we also know about tourism laws. No? They overlap with each other. Now, when we talk of tourism laws, we are talking about, when we talk about local, national, and even international laws or ordinances that apply in our country for the purpose of regulating what? What is the purpose of tourism? Well, travel activities. No? In tourism, tourism 1, you studied about travel would mean you have to go out of your place of residence or environment, your usual, how long will that be? For not more than 1 year. Diba? Yun yung definition ng travel. Now, remember here that when we talk of tourism laws, we are talking about the activities that will govern yung travel. Okay? Whereas here for hospitality, what do you think will govern this? Well, by the word hospitality alone, it has something to do with about yung mga lodging and accommodation services, ganyan. No? Accommodation. And of course, the F&B, yung food and beverage. Diba? Even entertainment. Entertainment. Ito yung nagre-refer tayo doon sa hospitality. But for travel activities, for purposes of going in and out or out of your residence, it has to be tourism. Kaya lang tourism is more encompassing. No, it's more there is a blanket coverage. No, when we talk of tourism, because that might subsume also yung hospitality aspect. Okay, clear so far? No, so let us take the 9 pillars. No, when we talk of the 9 pillars, 9 pillars of travel operating services. No, meaning travel operating services. No, so what are these 9 pillars? Meaning they are the most common, no, of all the one. No, okay. The first one is of course is transportation. No? Transportation. Of course, you cannot get out of the country unless you use transportation. And when we talk of transportation, that is travel. Diba? Travel. No? So when we talk of transportation, we're talking about the 3 modes. No? Yung land, air, and sea. These are the 9 pillars of travel operating services. So any of these modes that you will be using is of course one pillar, no? Travel. Now nowadays, it is very common to use this, no? Airplanes. No? Here for land, it also include railways, no? Of course, in any other form like railways or usually by coaches, yung mga buses. Etc. Okay, transportation is the first pillar. Of course, you cannot get out of your place of residence unless you move from one place to another through a means of transportation. The second would be what we call accommodation. Accommodation. Of course, being a tourist, you have to be accommodation, or the other term would be lodging. No, lodging. Like what are these? Well, the hotels, the mga inns, no, bed and breakfast, B&B. What else? Hotels, etc. No? So these are what we call accommodation or lodging services. No? That is also one of the pillars of the tourism industry, travel operating services. Now, the third would be yung tinatawag natin F&B or food and beverage services. And here for F&B, we have of course what? Hotels again, no? Because hotels will offer food also and beverage. Of course, yung mga bars, no? Restaurants, diba? Etc. No? So, because we are after food and beverage, bars, even yung drinking, no? So that is also one of the pillars of the travel operating services, yung food and beverage services, F&B. Okay? What else? Aside from food and beverage, then we have number four would be the travel sector, no? The travel sector, or we call that those who are with travel agencies or travel agents, no? They are also one of the pillars. Of course, when you want to get out of your country, you have to be, you have to contract a travel agency so that they will offer you a certain travel package, no? Tour package rather, no? And you go to a travel agency. So what else? We are talking still of the pillars of travel operating services. Well, you have here souvenirs, no? Souvenirs. Those who are making yung mga remembrance or souvenirs or handicrafts, they are also a part of one of the pillars, handicrafts. Okay? Get it? Souvenirs, handicrafts. Then we have attractions, no? Like yung mga theme parks, mga ganon. Those are part and parcel of what we call attractions. Mga theme parks, mga attractions of a certain destination. Say for instance, yung mga museums, those are attractions also. So that's the sixth. And then the seventh would be entertainment. No? Yung mga theaters, siguro, even including yung mga concerts, no? Or even, say for instance, concerts or even festivals, for instance. Festivals would be part of the entertainment. Diba? Then, after that, attractions. So we have seven here. The eighth would be those offering allied services. No? Seventh would be allied services. The allied services would, of course, be, say, for instance, those offering insurance because when you travel, you need insurance. Those who are yung mga vaccines, no? Nag-ano, or even security would fall under here, no? Then, of course, we have final tourism development, growth and development, tourism, growth and development activities. And then the final would be others. No? There will be others. Plenty here. No? Yung mga others, anyone who would fall under or helping the travel operating services would be also a pillar of the travel operating services. Okay, so you have to know all those. Now, I think that would be all for today. We will continue again next time. But I'd like you to do your assignment because I have written that down here in my notebook so that I will not be missing out anything. So you are being monitored also. We are now in assignment number number 4. No? We are now in assignment number 4. And assignment number 4, you have to do it in your own handwriting also and put it in a yellow pad. Assignment number 4, which I am assigning now, would be, what are treaties? What are treaties? So you will know what are treaties, the kinds of treaties. Okay, kinds of treaties. So put that down in your assignment. And of course, what are extradition treaties? What we call extradition treaties. Okay, clear? So what are treaties? The kinds of treaties, what are those? And then with specific discussion on extradition treaties. What are extradition treaties? That is assignment number 4. Then assignment number 5 would be for you to summarize the NTDP. No? NTDP. So you have to read the NTDP. What is the NTDP? National Tourism Development Plan. And I am talking about the 2016 NTDP up to 2022. No, this is the framework of the government as to how tourism will be developed. No? 2016 to 2022 because we are talking about the Duterte administration. The Philippine NTDP. Of course, the Tourism Act of 2009 is in RA 9593, which I also requested you to read the last time. I hope that you've been reading this law. Now, the date of this law is May 12, 2009. No? So I hope that you have been reading this law. It's a long law, but I want you to read that in advance. And of course, you have to summarize the NTDP. So when I say you have to summarize the NTDP, I'd like you to know the priorities of the government in the development of our tourism industry. Okay, I think that is all for today. Unless you have other questions, then you can leave a message in our group chat. So, good afternoon.